How you guys doing? My name is Nehemiah, aka Dynasty. Here I'm just going to give you guys my testimony today, basically of how I've formed my relationship with Christ over the years and how that kind of impacts my music and whatnot. So I'm just going to dive right in. I come from a big family. I got 9 brothers and 1 sister, a church-going family. So since I was little, I've always gone to church. My grandfather was actually a pastor. And so I was raised up in the church and doing family devotions, doing morning devotions, and having kind of that relationship with God that is given to you by your family. And so I knew who God was. I knew, the Bible verses, the Bible stories and all that. But that whole relationship with God didn't really form for me and click for me until later on in my life, in my teenage years, really my sophomore year of high school. And growing up, my mom always told me to try God and to kind of form my own relationship with Him. And I always thought that was silly because I felt like I had a relationship with God. I knew about the Trinity. I knew about Moses, Abraham, Adam, and Eve. I knew about the crucifixion and all that good stuff. But it wasn't until I actually started to explore and I really started to question who God was that my relationship with God actually got stronger. So going into my sophomore year of high school, I started really struggling with depression and anxiety and just feeling really lonely and feeling like nobody understood who I was. And so going down that path, I started actually questioning if God was even real. I would sit and I would cry out to God and ask Him if He was real to show me a sign, show me who He was. I wanted to know who God was. And there was a point in my life where I didn't believe that there was a God that was active in my life to a point where He cared about what I did on my day-to-day basis. I never got to the point where I felt like God completely didn't exist because, just looking around, that's, to me, unfathomable to think that this came from nothing. But so I was getting to that point where I felt like God at least didn't care about me if He was out there. He didn't care about me and what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. And it really got to a point where I felt so alone that I thought about taking my life on multiple occasions. And throughout this whole time, I was doing music. I started doing music when I was 10, so I was doing music at the time. But around that same time, I really started taking music seriously and really writing out my feelings on the page in a notebook and recording them. And as I expressed these feelings, it was almost like a searching journey for myself without me even knowing it. This was a conversation that I was having with myself and with God. And looking back on it now, it's just amazing to see that throughout the whole time I was actively searching. And I would encourage anyone, especially those who've grown up within the church, to actively question and search the things that you've been grown up on and been taught, because you can't really form your own relationship with somebody just in general, like with another person, if you're not asking questions about them, if you're not searching and going out your way to answer the questions that you have. So I was searching through these questions, and so just through the latter years of my high school career, I came back around and kind of rededicated myself to God, kind of recognizing He is real, He is there for me. And there was points in my life where I actually heard God speaking and moving in my life. And so into my college years, that was kind of a whole new obstacle in and of itself for me. Going to college and kind of thinking, okay, well, how am I going to live out this life? How are people going to accept me? How do I show my faith in a positive light? And again, that came back in my music, but just also how I carried myself and portrayed myself. Just generally being, gracious to people, being patient, willing to listen to people, talking to people that necessarily weren't popular or just kind of outside my immediate circle, being willing to welcome those people in and just talk to them, get to know people on a personal level, being able to just offer them advice from the things that I've been through, I think has really helped grow my relationship with God and other people and my witness for them. And also in my music, I've become more bold, I feel like, especially over these last couple of years in my music and portraying the trials I have walking my faith, and also still displaying the struggles I have with God. You know, all my questions aren't answered. I don't think all your questions will ever be answered when you're walking this path and this road with God. But that's part of the beauty of a journey. It's just kind of like a marriage. Like you fall in love with this person, but throughout the years, the journey only expands and deepens, and you learn more about the person that you didn't even know. So that's kind of how it's kind of evolved inside of my college life. In my music, you hear that a lot, and so that's kind of where I've shifted my focus in music to not always just being about doom and gloom, but expressing the feelings that I have, but also the resolutions of that, and recognizing that I am God's. I'm not what the world puts on me and labels me. So that's kind of the creed and the model that I live by. Is the labels that the world tries to put on you and defines you by really mean nothing in the eyes of God. In the eyes of God, you're labeless because you're His child, and He wants you. No matter your flaws, the things you've done in the past, who you were, the things that you even have said to Him. And you look in the Bible, you see God understands when humans are angry. That's an emotion that He gave us. You know, that's an emotion that we should use and express. He says in the Bible, "Be angry but sin not." And you have examples of Moses and David and biblical heroes like that who have confrontations and argue with God throughout the Bible. So for me, my testimony is, as my parents always said, try God, question everything, and really search and try to define what your relationship with God is for yourself. But thank you guys for listening and taking the time to check out my testimony. Like I said, my name's Nehemiah Bowie, aka Dynasty, and you guys have a great day and a blessed day. Thank you.